I'm Shofner. Thanks for checking out the new Chicken Pickin' guitar solo. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the solo lick by lick. Okay, let's start with figure 1, the chords. I'm not going to go through all of the fingerings, you can see that on the tab, but I quickly wanted to walk you through the arrangement. So what we're playing over. So we start with the root, we're in the key of G. So we have our G. We then go to the major third chord, which in this is going to be a B, but we're also adding a 7, so a B7. Then we go to the 6 minor, which is E minor. Then back to the major third chord, our B7. And then back to the minor 6, which is E minor. Then we come up to the root, G. Then we go to the major second chord, which would be A7. And then the major 5 chord. We're going to do with a 7 on it, a D7. Okay, you're going to play that through twice on the A section. The B section, the chorus part, starts on the root again. We're in G. Goes just like the A section to the major third chord, the B7. Now we're going to go up to the 4 chord, the C. And then back to the root, G. You're going to play that pattern 3 times through, and then on the last time, we start on the root G. We go straight to the 4 chord, the C. The 5 chord, we're going to do our D7, and then back home to our root G. And that's it. Okay, let's take a look at figure 2. This is the first lick of the solo. We're going to be playing over the G chord and the B7 chord. Just to outline the notes in this, we're going to start on the A string, on the 5th fret. We're going to go up to the D string 2nd fret, A string 5th fret. We're going to slide into the G string 4th fret. We're going to add in the 3rd fret on the B string, 5th fret on the B string, up to the 3rd fret on the E string. Then we're going to start on the 5th fret of the B string. We're going to start with it already bent up, a half step, minor second, up 1 note, and we're just going to let it come down. And then we're going to walk down on the G string from 4 to 3 to 2. I also have a couple of muted licks in between the 4, 3, and 2. Okay, so it sounds something like this. Also, make sure you get that good wide vibrato on the end. It kind of gives it a modern country flair. The way I thought of this, it's just sort of outlining a bluesy G scale. I got the idea of just playing in this type of pattern from George Benson and what he did on his cover of Miles Davis's All Blues. He did something kind of like this. Okay, so we just added that, turned that into a scale, and then give it that chicken picking flair with the real snappy picking. And then at the end of the lick, it was sort of a Leonard Skinner idea, kind of what they do on I Know a Little. Okay, so we just kind of walk George Benson into Leonard Skinner. Okay, then we just have the bend down, which just happens to be, we're bending up to actually the dominant 7 of the G chord, landing back on the 6, and then we end up back on the 4th fret of the G string, which just happens to be the major 3rd note, which gives us our G major scale. But when we land on that, we're landing on the B7 chord. So now it's not only the major 3rd of the G chord, but it's also the root of our next chord. So then we walk that down. We're actually walking it down to its dominant 7. So we know it's a B7 chord. So it's just the root B note walking down to its 7. And then that good wide vibrato. Okay, let's take a look at the close-ups, first at the slow speed and then up to tempo. Okay, now in figure 3, we're going to play over an E minor chord. And all we're really going to do is outline the E minor scale with open string pull-offs. This is sort of a Brad Paisley sort of modern country lick that has its roots in the bluegrass world. So we just quickly think about the E minor scale. We're only going to use the diatonic pitches, the notes that actually occur naturally in the E minor scale in this lick. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start on the G string, the 2nd fret, and we pull off to the open G string. Then we're going to go up and catch the 4th fret on the D string. And then as soon as we catch that 4th fret, we're going to just reach and grab the open G string. So the important part on these open string licks is to make sure you let those open strings keep ringing. So you don't want to let your fingers get down on the strings and deaden them. You want to make sure that they just keep ringing throughout. Okay. I would break this lick down into a few different parts. Let's say the first part is the pull off on the 2nd fret, and then we land on the D string, 4th fret, open string, G. Second part, we're going to do something very similar with a pattern, but we will start on the D string, 2nd fret. So we're just moving up the neck, or down the neck, however you want to say it. And we pull off just the same, open D string. We catch the 3rd fret of the A string, and then immediately followed by an open D string. Okay, then we're just going to stay right there on the A string. We're going to hammer from the 2nd fret, 2nd fret up to the 3rd, and then catch the open D again. And then the last part of the lick, we're going to do a pull off from A string from 3 to open. And then we finish up with a 4th fret on the E string, and then back to the 2nd fret on the A string. Just thinking quickly about what this is as far as which notes we're hitting. We're starting on the 4, ending up, we got a 4, a 2, there's the root. We're playing a 5 and a 6. And then at the end, the kind of tricky part is we're landing on some kind of odd things. Actually, this part is not diatonic. So in that 4th fret, it's actually more the major note, but it kind of has it just kind of sounds kind of interesting in there. And then we're landing back on the 5 of the E, sort of power chord part of it. But the next lick, we're going to be landing back on the B chord, and so that B note, the 5 of the E minor, is right where we're going to start. So notice we're doing that in the first couple licks. We're landing the scales and things we're playing. Since they're the notes of that scale are the root note. There's the root note of the next chord is in that scale. We're trying to make sure that our lick kind of takes us there and then lands on the root of the next chord. All right. So up to tempo, it sounds something like this. Okay. Let's look at it in the close-up. First at the slow speed, and then up to tempo. Okay, let's check out figure 4. Here we're going to play over the B7 chord again. If you think back to the last lick, right, we were sort of finishing up landing on the 5th note of the E minor scale, which just happens to be B, which is the key we're in now. So now it becomes our root. Okay, so the lick sounds something like this. Okay, so we're starting out on the E string, 4th fret. We're going to bend that up just a half a step or a minor second up to A. And it's really nice if you get that really kind of dippy tone. And so we're just bending that up, and then we're hitting the 2nd fret of the A string. You really kind of think about it, what we're doing is we're bending up to the A, which is the dominant 7 of the B chord. And the lick is really just A up to B. Okay, so the important part is sort of the inflection of this lick. So you want to make sure that you get sort of that dippy sound. And I kind of do almost a pick harmonic on that. And then you want to get that snappiness. We're really popping it with the fingers. And not only that, but it's a little bit of a hand mute on the left hand, so I'm not pushing down really hard. All right, sound you get when you're not pushing all the way. All right, so this is a very easy lick. It's really all about how you touch the guitar. All right, let's take a look at it in the close-ups, first at the slow speed and then up to tempo. Okay, figure 5, we're going to play over the E minor chord again. And this is a very simple little octave lick. And I would say I probably got this from Brad Paisley. It has a very new feel to it. It's very simple. We start with the open E string, 2 picks on that, and then we just simply pluck the 7th fret on the A string, which is the E note as well. So we have octaves. So the lick, it's just 2 to 1. And then to give it a little more modern country feel, I like to give it that wide vibrato at the end again. Okay, that'll sound really nice as it leads into the next lick. Check it out in the close-ups. Okay, figure 6 is just a variation, really, of figure number 2, the beginning of it, the George Benson-y, if you will, kind of part. So it starts out exactly the same. We start on the A string, 5th fret. We go up to the D string, 2nd fret, D string, 5th fret, slide into the 4th fret on the G string, hit the 3 on the B, 5 on the B, and then it gets different. Then we're going to bring it right back down. So we're going to slide down from 3 to 2 on the G string, catch the 2nd fret on the D string, the 5th fret on the A string, and then 2 times at the 5th fret on the D string. Okay, so the thing that keeps it from being jazzy blues is it's just really the way that we approach it. So we really want to get it snapping, really popping. Okay, so let's look at that in the close-ups. First slow, and then up to tempo. Okay, figure 7 is a rockabilly lick with some double stops in it. By double stops, we mean playing 2 notes at once, right? My technique for playing all of this type of music is to use my thumb and my first finger to hold my pick, and then I usually do a claw technique with the middle and ring finger. Now, some people like to use a thumb pick to free up some of their other fingers, or their first finger, I should say. But that's the technique that I'm going to use. So this is really a combination of the pick and then my middle and ring finger. So we're in the key of A7, right? Really the lick is just based in an A pentatonic world. So if you know the pentatonic scale, you're going to be right at home here. The first part of the lick, we're going to play the 5th fret, the B and the E string at the same time. And I'm going to pluck that or claw that. To get into that, I'm actually going to use the pick to rake into it. So I'm going to catch a couple strings up above and then rake into the pluck technique. And it's just really nice to add a little complexity to the lick. Okay, the next part, we're going to do a pull-off on the G string from 8 to 7 to 5. So it's 2 pull-offs in a row. Okay, then we're going to land on our root notes. We're going to be at the 7 on the A string. Then we're going to come down and just drop your finger down. We'll do another double stop, 7th fret on the G and the B string. It's kind of comes from the working man blues kind of lick, you know. Same idea. So we drop down. All right, so we're going to do that twice. So 7 on the D string down to the G and the B. Twice through, and then we're going to reach over. We're going to do the same thing, get a double stop on the 5, the 5th fret on the G and B string. And then we're going to get like a hammer on to the 6th fret. Actually, we're going to pluck that, right? So start back at the working man blues. Right, it kind of comes from the working man blues idea. All right, so we do that. We do it through twice. We're on the 7th fret on the D string, and we go down to the 7th fret on the G and the B. And then we catch the 5th fret on the G and the B. And then we just add in our middle finger here to catch the 6th fret on the G string. All right, so we're going from, basically we're A minor, A major, which is a very rockabilly idea. All right, so it sounds something like this. Okay, so we finish that up. We land again, once again on the root. All right, which leads us into the second part of the lick, which is just another double stop lick. This time we're going to move our double stop to the A and the D string at the 7th fret. All right, then we're just going to have a pull off. So we're playing both the 7s. We're going to pull off on the A string part. We're going to keep the 7th fret on the D string. So we pull off to the 6th fret on the A string, and then we just once again claw the 5th and the 7th frets here. The 5th fret on the A string, 7th fret D string. So it sounds like this. If we put it all together, okay, see it in the close-ups. Okay, lick number 8. We're going to be playing over the D7 chords and then end in the G chord. This lick is kind of a couple different ideas put together. It starts out with what I like to think of a Brad Paisley lick. It's really just an old chicken pickin' rockabilly kind of lick, but with a little bit more of a modern interpretation. I think Brad Paisley kind of takes it and plays with it in a little bit lower register. So if we think about, really quick, the lick in the old way, and then Brad Paisley kind of style. So just a lower register. That just gives it a little bit different feel. So what we're doing is we're playing a dyad. We're going to play the root of a chord and the major and the third. So whether it's the major or the minor part of the chord that we're sort of outlining. So we're starting in D7. But what we're really going to do is we're actually outlining this in the key of G because we're going to land in G, which is the really common. So we're starting on the D, but then we're going to walk that down to G. Okay. So the actual fingering of this would be the A string, 9th fret, the G string, 7th fret, and we're just going to move that straight down. So it goes 9, 7, 8, 6, 7, 5. That's the major version of this. So we have the root on the bottom. So we're actually like in a first inversion. We have the root, or the root on top, you might say, and then the third on bottom. Okay, and then we're going to go into the minor version of this. So instead of having that full split with a full fret in between, we're going to go down to where there's no fret in between, that we're right side by side. So this is the minor version. So now we're at 5 and 4 on the A and G strings respectively. We move that down, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2. So in time it sounds something like this. All right, so you want to get that sliding up to the 9, 7 as well. And I'm really choking this down. I'm really palm muting. I'm not pushing really hard with my fingers so I can get that. I don't want it to ring. I want it to be a real staccato version of the note. Okay, and then we finish up with an open A string, hammer on 1st fret to 2nd. And really what we're just doing is kind of going into a G chord. It's kind of a James Burton kind of idea. All right, so we're going to hit the G because we're going to hit the open D, G, and B strings. That is just outlining our G chord. And then this last part I kind of like to think about. One of my favorite guitar players right now is Jim Campolongo. And so we're going to catch the root really quick on the 3rd fret on the E string. And so as we're coming to our G chord, and then we're just going to chime, do a harmonic on the G, B, or the D, G, and B strings. So we get that nice open ring. What I like to do here though is to get a nice little neck bend in. So you've never done this, disclaimer, if you break your guitar, it's not my fault, all right? I do it all the time, everything seems to be okay. But really what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the neck forward to try to, literally loosen the strings. And to help that leverage, I take my right hand, I just hold the top of the guitar. So really, I'm pushing into my body with my right hand, and then my left hand is pushing forward. So it sounds something like this. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so if we put that together, it sounds like this. All right, let's see it in the close-ups. Okay, figure 9 is a banjo roll, and this comes from exactly where it sounds like it does. It's meant to emulate a banjo. And a lot of country guys use this sort of lick, so I wouldn't say there's any particular influence here. We're actually going to be playing over the B7 chord again here, and we're actually just going to be playing octaves with our banjo roll. So we're going to be hammering on from the 3rd fret of our G string, up to the 4th fret of our G string. And that will be immediately followed up by an open B string. We play it 5 times, and it has its own sort of pattern. And it goes like this. Okay, dun, da, dun, da, 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 dun, da, dun. So if you can just kind of get that rhythm in your mind, we're going to use that several times over. So once again, hammering from the 3rd fret of the G string up to the 4th, and then just catching the open B string. And this is octaves. Okay, let's see it in the close-up. Okay, figure 10 is an ascending open string pull-off lick, sort of, I don't know, maybe a la Brad Paisley again. Just kind of got that really low-end grit, snap and pop to it. So when I'm playing this lick, I really like to bear down, and I usually am using my middle finger to do most of it. It's an alternating picking style, but I'm really popping. I really got my finger way up under the string for this lick, especially because on these low ones, even sometimes I'll even like pinch the string with my pick. I'll just kind of grab it in there with my pick and literally just pull it up. It just depends, but on these low string licks, these low E string licks, it's just really nice. The more snap you can get, typically the cooler it sounds. So in the key of E minor here, we're just going to walk it up. We're trying to get back to B. So our E minor, that's basically the notes we're looking at. So just walking up the first 5 notes of our E minor scale. So I'm actually going to start on the 3rd fret of the E string. And I'm just going to do a pull off, open string. So it's a pull off, pick the open string. And it's going to be that way most of the way. So 3, pull off to open, pluck. Same thing with 2. Back up to 3, up to 4. So we're kind of doing a little chromatic run here. And then we get to 5. 5 is just a double lick. I'm just going to do an alternating picking technique. Same thing with 6. This is what it sounds like. Okay, so really getting that low E string to snap. And like I say, we're going to be landing. We're just trying to get to the 7th fret, which is going to start figure 11. Okay, so let's see this in the close-ups. Okay, figure 11 we're going to play over the B7. So like we said in figure 10, we're just trying to get ourselves up to that B note on the E string. So we're going to be starting at the 7th fret. Now this lick, it's just sort of an ascending major scale. I sort of think about this lick as maybe coming from James Burton, but then with just sort of a more modern interpretation where we're just using our alternating picking to play it much faster, really. Okay, so we're just going to kind of outline just sort of a B major pentatonic kind of idea. So if I start on our B note on the 7th fret of the E string, then we're going to go to the 9th fret and then slide up to 11. So 7, 9, slide 11. We're just going to reach down, and this is a pattern you can use all over the place, right? Reach down, slide up, and then catch the 9th fret on the A string, 11th fret on the A string, and then the 9th fret on the D string. And of course this works, you know, in any key. If we're going to do in G, start on our G root note. Same thing with A root. Now we're in B. Okay, and then you can finish out the lick. If you go 9, slide up, it's just playing it an octave higher above that, 9, 11 to 13, and then 11 on the G string, 13 on the G string, and then our final root is going to be on the B string, 12th fret. So, okay, we're going to add one little variation in there that makes it just a little bit hipper. Okay, so we go from the 7th fret on the E string, we slide up to the 11, we go 9, 11 on the A string, then we reach and grab the root on the D string, but then we come right back down. We just kind of back up one note, catch the 11th fret on the A string, and then back to the 9th fret on the D string, and then we just finish out the lick. And that just makes it, it sounds like you're playing a lot more notes than maybe we are. Okay. Excuse me, so without the variation, and then with the variation. Okay, it just seems like you're going faster even though you're not. Okay, let's see it in the close-ups. Okay, figure 12 is just a series of blues bends. So we're finally getting some blues in there, but of course we're going to put our own little country chicken pickin' flair along with it. So really, you know, this is your basic Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, every other, you know, blues guy in the world lick. We're going to be in the key of E minor, right? So we're basically just in our E pentatonic. I'm just going to bend up from the 12th, excuse me, this will be the 14th fret up to the 16th. Okay, and then I'm going to catch the 12th fret on the B and the E string. Okay, very popular blues style lick. Then I'm going to come back to the 12th. Okay, if we were doing like Stevie Ray Vaughan, it might be. Okay, but we're going to take it to the country place now. So we bend up 14 up to 16, catch 12, 12, back to 12 on the B string, and then we're going to get our bend from the 15th fret on the B string up to bending up to 17. Okay, very bluesy at this point. But then we add in the chicken picking part. So we're going to hold that bend. We're going to reach down and grab the high E string on the 12th fret. And it's just going to be alternating from that point on, just holding the bend. So, I mean, it's very bluesy. But we're going to get that staccato, palm muted, kind of light touch on the left hand, real short staccato chicken picking style. Okay, so the lick sounds like this. Okay, so the pattern is once you bend. Okay, so it's literally just a back and forth, and then you're going to add in. So it's bend, pluck, and then 2 more, and then bend again, and then again, and then nice vibrato on the end. Okay, so we'll see it in the close-ups. Okay, figure 13 is some sort of Don Rich style pull-offs, but maybe with a little bit more modern, like a Brent Mason type take on Don Rich style lick. So once again, double stops. That means we'll be using the pick and then my claw technique here. So we'll be starting at the 12th fret on the G and the B string. That would just be the root and the third of the G chord. So we're in the key of G here. If I was playing this lick in another key, I would do it the same. I just move this anywhere. So if I was playing in C, I move down here to the 5th fret. D, I'd move up to the 7th. E, move up to the 9th. So you can move this anywhere. So that's the lick. We're going to start, we catch the double stop right on the 12th fret, the G and the B strings. In between that, we get just like a muted downstroke. And we're going to go back and claw them again, but with a pull off from the 12 to the G and the B string at the 10th fret. Okay, and then in between each of these licks, we always have the muted downstroke. Okay, so we play them, we put the mute in, we pull off, mute, pull off, and then we just repeat. So that's actually the pattern. It's play, pull off, and then you just do that twice. Okay, we'll see it in the close-up. First slow, and then up to tempo. Okay, for lick number 14, we're going to mention Brent Mason again, and this is an idea that comes from him, and this is sort of a 6-chord triad double stop, if you will. So we're going to be anchoring right at our A note at the 10th fret. We also have the 11th fret on the G string. That's the 6. And then we add in the major third at the 9th fret on the E string. So if we just did a typical A chord, we'd move our G string 11th fret down to the 9th fret, just our A major. Okay, we're just going to move that up though, so now we have a 6. So we have the major third, the root, and the 6. Okay, so the lick actually kind of walks into that. So we actually slide up 11th fret on the D string, go to the 9th fret on the G string, and then the 11th fret, which is our 6th note, right, on the G string. And then we're just going to reach and grab and pluck the 10th fret on the B and the 9th fret on the E. Okay, and then we're just going to move it all down 2 frets, and we're just going to play 9, and then we're going to reach and pluck the 8 on the B string and the 7th fret on the E string. Okay. Let's see it in the close-ups. Okay, lick number 15 is just a slight variation on the rockabilly double stop lick that we saw earlier. Once again, we're in the key of A. Very similar, we're starting on the 5th fret, the B and the E string. double stop there. And we just have a pull off from 8-7-5 on the G string. And then we go up, catch the root on the 7th fret of the D string. Then we go straight down and double stop on the G and B strings at the 7th. We go back to our root, and then we just get that, we hammer on, because we're going to double stop from holding the B and the E string, the G and the B string at the 5th fret, and then adding in that major 3rd note, hammering onto the 6th. If you recall, this is the Working Man Blues lick. Okay, so this thing sounds like this. All right, see it in the close-up. Okay, lick number 16 is just a classic chicken pickin' lick. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We talked about the modern form, right? We had this idea where we had this first inversion dyad walking from D down to G, which is what we're going to do again. So the Brad Paisley kind of idea looked like this. And now we're just going to put it back up in the classic position. So we're doing a dyad in like a first inversion. So the major form of this is we're in the key of D right here. It's our D chord. We're playing the root is at the 10th fret on the E string, and then we have the 3rd, so we're a major 3rd. We're in our first inversion on the 11th fret on the G string. Okay, so we can keep that pattern. We're going to keep the major version. Walk it down. So we're D, C, that's at, 9 and 8. And then we're going to go with the minor version, which will just be stacked right on top, same strings, the G and the E. This is 7, 6, 5, and then we'll end it up. So the lick goes like this. Okay, so we're just walking it down, classic style, D, C, getting it down, here we go to the G. So when we get down to our G, our root, we're going to kind of bend down into that. So we're going to start, we'll go 3, 3 on the E string, 3 on the B string, and then we're going to start with our G string already bent up. And really what we're trying to do is to create that suspension, like a 4-3 suspension. Okay, so you're bending up. You're really going to start with the 4th fret bent up to the 5th fret. Okay, so at the end it goes like this. Okay, so it's a steel guitar kind of lick. I would say I probably got that from Jerry Donahue. Okay, so let's see that in the close-ups. Okay, figure 17, we're going to pick up where we left off on 16. So you remember we're in the key of G. We had just done this steel guitar lick, a sort of Jerry Donahue lick. All right, we're just going to walk that right back up now. So we're going to keep those first inversion dyads going. We're going to start in the key of G. We're just going to walk that up. So we go from the major form of this lick, go to the minor version, walk it up, and then instead of, usually we'd probably go to the minor there, because usually we'd be going to C, but in this case we're going to a B7, so we're going to go G, and we're going to land on our B7, so we're going to land 8th fret on the G string, 7th fret on the E string, and then we're going to do another little steel guitar lick. When we pluck, we go G, E string, and then we're just going to hold it but do a little bend. So we're going to be bending up from the 8 up to the 9 on the G string, and it's once again it's that 4/3 suspension. All right. So about 3 bends on that. We'll give it one more. We'll play that one more time as we lead right into our C. Okay, so we're just moving up 1 fret to play the C version of this. Okay, and then there's just a nice little, just alternating pattern in the C version. So it sounds something like this. Okay, just a good chicken picking. You know, we're really just muting the G string and then really snapping the E string. Okay, we really don't even hear the note we're playing on the G string. All right, see it in the close-up. Okay, lick number 18 is in the key of G. You'll probably recognize this. It's a variation on the introduction lick that I used to kind of get the solo started that we actually don't cover in the solo, but it's the first thing you hear on the video. So this is a variation of that. Open string pull-offs, just a very bluegrassy lick, you know, brought into our chicken picking world. Okay, so we're in the key of G. We're really just going to be outlining G pentatonic. Okay, so we're actually going to start, and this is very similar to the other open string lick we did somewhere around figure 3, I believe. We're going to start on the 3rd fret of the E string and just pull off to the open E string. We're going to reach and catch the 3rd fret on the B string. As soon as we catch that right, it's the same pattern as we did on the open string before. We're going to catch the open E string just below it. All right, so just like we did last time, we're going to break this up. So here's our first part. Remember, we got to keep those open strings ringing. You really don't want, okay, you want them to ring. And then we want to just start right there again. We'll pull off on the 3rd fret of the B string and then catch the 3rd fret on the G string. And as soon as we get that, we're going to catch the open B string, of course. Sounds kind of funny when you do it slow, but when it's going fast, it sounds good. And then it's very similar to that other open string lick. We're going to hammer on from the 2nd fret up to the 3rd on the G string, catch the open string again. And then just like in that other lick too, we're going to do a pull off from 3 to open. Okay, 3 to open, catch the 3rd fret on the D string, and then the open G string. That's going to lead us right into our next lick, which is another banjo roll. Okay, so this is what it sounds like up to speed. Okay. All right, and we're going to be sliding up to the next one. Okay, so let's see the close-ups. Okay, figure 19, we're still in the key of G, and like we said, our last lick was leading us right into this. It's sort of a banjo roll, a version of that, maybe without quite the hammer-on style, but more of a sliding style. So if I play the previous lick, we'll show you how it kind of gets into it. Okay, so we're just going to be doing the sliding part here. We're simply sliding, up from about 3 to 5. It doesn't really matter if you go from 4 to 5 or 3 to 5, but we're sliding up to 5, the fifth fret on the D string, which is our G note, so it's our root for the chord we're playing in. And then we're just catching the open G string right below it, so it's octaves again. Okay, and we're actually going to play this 6 times. Okay, and that rhythmic pattern is something we've seen before too. Okay, just sort of a standard banjo roll kind of feel. All right, let's see it in the close-ups. Okay, figure 20 is going to be a really easy one because this is a complete revisit from a previous lick. So this is the only lick that is duplicated in this solo verbatim. So once again, we're in B7 here, and we're just going to do our banjo roll again. We're hammering from 3 to 4 on the G string, and then catching the open B string. This gets played 5 times, and here's the rhythmic pattern. Okay, let's see it in the close-up. Okay, figure 21. This is a Paisley style, really fast pull-off lick. This is probably the fastest lick in the solo, and if it's not the most difficult, it's one of the most difficult licks in the solo. So we're going to be in the key of G for this entire lick, and we're really just going to be outlining a pentatonic scale. Okay. We're just going to add a few notes in there, and it's always going to be the pull-offs are going to be 2 pull-offs per string. Sometimes we're going to be pulling off to open strings, sometimes not. So the first, and actually I'm going to break this down into a couple little pieces for you, and then we can put the puzzle together at the end. So the first little piece is to start on the 6th fret of the E string. We're going to pull off to the 5th fret, and we're going to pull off to the 3rd fret. So you're just going to pick this once. And I do this with my middle finger again so I can get that really good snap. I mean, I'm actually literally getting under the string to pull it up. Okay, and then we're going to mimic that same thing on the B string, so 6, 5, 3. Okay, so really slow, we put that together. All right, so I would just practice those 2 together and then try to build the speed. Okay. Now the second part of the lick is going to be 3 notes with 2 pull-offs, but we're going to go to open strings this time. So we're going to put 2 strings together again. So this time we're just moving right up the neck here, or right down the neck, and we're going to go on the G string. Now we're at the 5th fret. So we're going to pull off the 5 to the 3 to open. Okay, and then we're going to mimic that on the D string, 5, 3 open. So I do the same thing. I would practice this slow and try to get it faster. Okay. the last part of this lick, we're going to keep moving right down the neck. So every string has its own little lick. We're going to go 4, 3, open. So on the A string, 4, pull to 3, pull open. And then we're going to hit the open again. And we're going to go open, hammer on 1, hammer on 2, and then land right on 3 of the E string, which is our root. Also do the wide vibrato there. Now there's one variation in the middle of there. We're going to kind of go back and do one part of this lick twice. So we do 6, 5, 3 on the E, 6, 5, 3 on the B. Then we're going to pull off 5, 3, open on the G, 5, 3, open on the D. But then we're just going to turn right around and grab the G string again. 5, 3, open on the G, repeat 5, 3, open on the D, then 4, 3, open on the A, open 1, 2 on A, and then landing on our G. Sounds something like this. Okay, let's see it in the close-up. Okay, lick number 22 is an ascending open string pull-off run. And so we just landed, right, you remember on that last lick we landed on the 3rd fret of the E string, which is our G note, which is our root. So we're still in the key of G. We're trying to get back to our B7. Okay, so now what we're going to do, just think we just started on that 3rd fret of the E string. Now we're just going to walk up. We're just kind of outlining a G pentatonic major kind of scale. We're going to go open on the A string, 2nd fret on the A string, open on the D, 2nd on the D string, and then we're going to just keep walking that G scale up with a little bit of chromatic, a few chromatic instances in there. Okay, so now we're just right to the 2 again. We pull off on the 2, pull off open. This is the same, you remember that lick before? So the same idea, it's a pull off and then hitting the open string again. So we're pulling off on 2, open string. Pull off on 4, open string. Pull off on 5, 5, 4, and then back to the 5, and then 6, open string, and then 7, open string, and then we're ready for our B. Okay, so it sounds something like this. All right, see the close-up. Okay, lick number 23 is yet another banjo roll and just happens to be in the key of B7 again. So you remember before we've been hammering from 3 to 4, catching the open B string, so we were playing it in an octave. Here we're going to be hammering on from 7 to 8 on the G string, but still catching that open B string. So what we were doing here is we were playing octaves. Now we're hammering onto the major third of our B chord. Okay, so that's the lick, hammering on from 7 to 8 and then catching the open B string. Goes like this. Okay, let's see the close-up. Okay, lick number 24 is a bluesy rockabilly lick. We're going to start in the key of C and get to the key of G. As far as influences on this, the best I can think, I think I probably got this from my dad, who got it who knows where. He's a country guitar player as well. So I'm pretty sure I stole this or some variation from him. So we're going to start in the key of C. And we're going to kind of do, the first part of this, we're going to kind of do our Skinner I Know a Little lick. Remember we did that at the very beginning in the key of G. Okay, so now we're in the key of C. So we're going to slide up to the 9th fret on the G string. We're going to catch the 8th fret on the B, the 10th fret on the B, and then we're going to go right up to catch the root again on the 8th fret of the E string. And then we're going to do a nice little slide from the 11th fret up to the 12th, which is going to slide into the major third on the E string. And then we're going to catch our root again on the E string at the 8th fret. And at that point, we're going to start our sort of descending rockabilly kind of lick in a pentatonic scale. So we go, we start with that 8th fret on the E string. We're going to do a pull off from the 11th fret to the 8th fret on the B string. And then we're going to reach up and catch the 11th fret on the G string, and then back to the 8th fret on the B string, back to the 11th fret on the on the G string, and then we're going to do a pull off from 10 to 8 on the G string. Okay, so it goes like this. Okay, see it in the close-up. Now we're hitting that G chord. Once again, this is sort of a continuation of probably something I got from my dad, and then sort of continuing into this lick, which is a rockabilly double stop lick as well, sort of in a minor bluesy scale kind of way. So I'm going to be thinking of this. We're going to be starting on the root note, the G, on the 8th fret on the B string. And we're going to double stop that. We're going to play the 7th fret of the G string along with it. So 8th fret on the B string, 7th fret on the G string. Now we're just going to keep that 8th fret, our root note, we're going to hold that as we double stop. We're just going to walk down on the G string. Okay, so we're going to walk down. We're going to start with 7, 6, 5. That's it. Okay, and then we're going to kind of do that rockabilly idea we've done before, where we're going to grab the 3rd fret on the G and the B string, and then go into our kind of working man blues idea. We hit the 3s there, and then we catch the 5 on the D string, which is our root. And then we just drop that straight down and catch the 5th fret on the G and the B string, back to the root, and then we're going to do that hammer on right. We're just going to hold the 3rd fret on the G and the B strings, and add in hammer on the 4th on the G string, which is going to make it go from a minor to a major. Right? And then just land right on the root, the 5th fret on the D string. Okay, so it sounds like this. Okay, see it in the close-up. Okay, figure number 26. This is a basic steel guitar lick in the key of G. If you've seen my other instructional video, we had something very similar to this. We're going to add a little bit different rhythmic interpretation to it to try to hip it up a little bit. So we're in the key of G. Like most licks in this video, they're very easy to move around anywhere you want, as long as you understand where the roots and things are. So our root is going to be in G. We're in the key of G. The root is at the 8th fret on the B string. Now this lick sounds like this. Sort of the classic way would be like this. Okay, so we're going to do the hip. Okay, so we're really at the 10th frets mostly, at the B and the E string. So I'm going to bend up the 10th fret at the B string, hit the note at the 12th, and I'm going to hold that up. I'm going to pluck the E string at the 10th fret. I'm going to go back and pluck again my note that I still have bent on the B string. Then I'm going to reach under, and while I've still got that up, I'm going to play the 8th fret on the E string. And then I'm going to release my bend. Then I'm going to do the same thing. Bend it right back up, play the 10th fret on the E string, play again my note that's bent. Then I'm going to reach under, grab the 8th fret on the E string, and then release my bend. We're not actually even going to get the resolution here just yet on the G string. We're just going to keep moving along. So it doesn't actually resolve. So once again, it sounds like this. Okay, we'll see it in the close-up. Okay, this is figure 27. This is the final lick of the whole solo. And one of the easier parts, really, I'd say. These are a couple of dyads. We've already been working with these inverted dyads, moving them up and down. You know, it's a very classic way to play. So we're going to finish off with a classic note. We're going to start with the key of C. We're going to get that D7 chord, and then we're going to finish up in G. So when we're in C, right, we've already seen this. Playing that C dyad, C major, is going to be the 9th fret on the G string and the 8th fret on the E string. We're going to move that up, and we're going to play the same thing to get the D, which will be the 11th fret on the G string, 10th fret on the E. So the first part goes like this. Okay, so there's a quick double stop on the C right towards the end of the lick on the C, double stop on D, and then we go to finish it off, we're going to just go up to G, which is at the 16th fret on G, 15th fret on the E string. Okay, we're going to do that 4-3 suspension idea again. We're trying to get this, except for we're going to do it with like a pedal steel type bend. So we're going to bend our 16th fret on the G string up to that note at the 17th, and the lick goes like this. Okay, so we bend it up, we hold it, and then at the very end we resolve it back down, so we end up on a G major. Okay, once again, the whole lick. All right, see it in the close-up. Hey, thanks for watching the new Chicken Pickin' guitar solo instructional video. Be sure to stay in touch with the website, www.ckshofner.com, and like my Facebook fan page to stay up to date on new products as they arrive. Thanks.